Well, I know last time we ended, you said that you wanted to touch on the Jehovah's Witness stuff. I don't know if you still wanted to do that.
Oh, oh yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, that's like my foundation. That's pretty much where everything started off for me. Uh, I was born into it, like my mom. My upbringing from that has affected a lot of my life ever since I left there. And people tell me, you're older now, right? Like you're not a kid anymore, just get over it and stuff. But it's like all this stuff is just still sitting in the back of my mind, right? Like just how I grew up.
Well, you say all this stuff. Do you mean like theology or kind of the way that the community was together, like the dynamics?
Yeah, it's just like the family dynamic, the community dynamics, the rules within the organization. My mom basically she got my dad to convert, right? That when they started dating, she told him she couldn't really be serious with him unless he started studying. Unless he started studying, the Bible and stuff. And so that's what he did. He basically, he was in love with her, and so he wanted to, do what he could to get her, and so he converted. He ended up baptizing and becoming a part of, the organization. At one point in time, he was an elder of the congregation. That was short lived. My dad was pretty out there as far as his personality. He was very extrovert, life of the party kind of person, always making people laugh. Just very, joyful, and I think I might have ADHD from him. Just because I don't know, just thinking back to the way he was, it's like, yeah, he had to have something, like he passed down something to me. Um, but he was really cool, and I was a daddy's boy, right? Like, my older brother was more like my mom's, like really tight with my mom, and I was really tight with my dad. In the early '80s, um, we got a visit from the elders at our home, and they spoke with my mom. It resulted in an excommunication. They excommunicated my mom, right? That uh, basically disfellowship, right? So that you're allowed to attend the meetings, right? But only at the Kingdom Hall. You can't go to a member's house because they also have meetings during the week that take place at a member's house, right? And they do Bible studies at the house. Excuse me, where it'll be like 30, like 25 to 30 people in the home all studying from a particular book. So if she couldn't attend those, she could only attend at the Kingdom Hall, but nobody was allowed to speak to her. She can't communicate with any of the Jehovah's Witnesses. It's just like she just shows up and she's just there. That was because uh, it came out that she had cheated on my dad with another elder in the congregation.
Well,
So
did it happen to the man as well?
I believe so. I believe so. I believe so. I don't. I can't say 100%, because I don't know what was happening in his home, but I think so. I think they both were. So that happened, right? And this was in the early '80s, and right around that same time is when we took a trip to California. I had cousins that moved out. This was in New York, right? This I was born in New York. Um, this was all taking place in New York, but we had I had cousins, an uncle and an aunt that moved to California like in 79, right? So they were living out here in California, and my older cousin got his ass beat. He got jumped by a gang out here, um, and he was hospitalized. Like they beat him up pretty bad. So we came out to California to visit him to see how he was doing, and we stayed out here for a couple weeks. Um, we went back to New York like we were addicted to California. Like we just had to come back. We convinced my father to move to California. This is my mom's side of the family. This is her brother, right? And his kids that were living in California. My dad's whole family is in New York and they're in Puerto Rico. So he didn't want to leave because that's his whole family is over there, right? And we're coming over here to be with my mom's family. But we convinced him. He ended up agreeing to move, but they were separated for about 6 months. This was like a break for them, right? She basically set up everything over here for him to move over, and he ended up coming over. And from the beginning of him arriving to California it was just a downward spiral. Just like shit just went bad for my dad when he moved to California. He gets off the plane. He was a record collector. He had about 6 giant boxes of records that he boxed up to bring over to California with him. When he gets to California, there's only 2 boxes, right? So that's more than half of his collection just gone, and that's like his heart. That I get my love for music from my dad. Like that, he was a record collector. He was a music guy, dancer. Um, so that was that. My parents ended up divorcing. They split up maybe 2 years after we moved to California. Right? I was like 12, 13 years old when they split up. And by the time I was like 14, they had finalized the divorce, right? But here's the catch. Uh, for the Jehovah's Witnesses, there's no biblical grounds for a divorce. You can't divorce if you're a Jehovah's Witness unless one of the members, one of the husband or the wife, uh, commits adultery. So my dad, being convinced of the religion and thinking that he had to free my mom, right? So they can divorce, so she can be happy, so they can both be happy, really, right? Like so continue on their lives or whatever, separate. Um, he decided to pay for a prostitute, and this was in the late 80s, right? We finally moved to California in '86. So it was around uh, '89 when they split up. And it was like 1990, right? It was like late '80s, early '90s. This is right when AIDS was the the thing that everybody was afraid of. So we found out that my father ended up contracting AIDS, HIV, excuse me, um, from his little excursion to free my mom, to free them, right? So they can divorce. this is all because of the religion. This is all because of the rules in the religion. That's ultimately what it boils down to. He's trying to follow the religious rules, and that's what ended up happening to him. So I'm like, at about 16 years old, I get kicked out of the house, right? This is like uh, 92. This is like 92. I get kicked out of the house. Um, my dad's living in Florida, right? And they tell me, uh, 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 I tell my mom that I want to move to Florida and live with my dad. Uh, and she ended up making the arrangements, right? I'm still kicked out of the house. I'm living with friends, right? She made the arrangements. She bought the plane ticket and everything. And a week before I was supposed to fly out, my mom and my brother, they're like, we need to talk. You know, we went, I think it was like Denny's or something. We ate at Denny's, and my mom basically explained to me, when you go to California, when you go to Florida to live with your dad, things are gonna be a little different. And I'm like, I know he's sick. And they're like, yeah, but your dad is gay and he's living with his boyfriend. And I'm like, what the fuck? I could not fucking believe it. I was like, what? I didn't go. I stayed. I stayed in California. I couldn't imagine what it would be like to live in that situation. Like, it just seemed really weird. I didn't think that I would be comfortable. And I'm being raised a Jehovah's Witness at that time. So like all that stuff just seemed like really just not cool, right? That's not good. So I stayed, and his health ended up getting worse, right? So I turned 18 years old in 94, and then we get a phone call from my dad's boyfriend, just like a couple days after I turned 18. And he's like, you guys got to come over here. You have to come over here. He doesn't have much time. So we flew out to Florida just a couple days later, and I got to be with my dad for the last few days of his life. I actually got to see him pass away. I I I watched him die, and um, it was wild, right? But while I was there, I got to meet his boyfriend and their whole network of friends, right? He was part of a support group of of gay Puerto Rican men that were living with HIV, right? And there was like 6 or 7 guys they all embraced me and my brother. I had arrived like on Wednesday, and it was Saturday when my dad died. It was like Saturday morning, like at 11:30 something, and uh, that evening, his friends took me and my brother out to South Beach. That was my first time seeing South Beach, my first time seeing drag queens and just this crazy party vibe. I had just turned 18 years old, right? And this is like wow, shit. But we're we're partying it up with my dad's gay friends, right? And he had just died, and it was just like this weird, just like this. it's I can't explain it. It's just this weird moment of like kind of joy, experiencing my my father's friends and hearing the stories and stuff that they had of my dad, and but it was, we were all mourning at the same time, so it was just a weird mix that of emotions that I had never really experienced before. I didn't really know how to process it. My brother was fucking almost punching holes in the walls, right? Like he was fucking extremely just pissed. Like something really messed with him, like where he was just really angry uh that his our dad died, right? For me it was like, I think it was more like I was relieved that he wasn't suffering anymore. Um So I think that's what it was. Like I didn't have like a tearful reaction. Or, I wasn't crying or anything. Um, I cried when I saw him. Like he looked like a corpse, right? He was on his deathbed. I cried when I saw him like that. But after he passed away, like I felt relief. Um, so yeah, I'm saying all that because uh this is all because of the Jehovah's Witness rules, right? This happened because of him trying to abide by their rules. My mom ended up remarrying, you know, about a year later, like a year and a half later. She started dating somebody, and she got remarried, and it just felt really wrong, right? That didn't seem right to me that she was able to just move on like that. Okay, before that, I kind of jumped ahead a little bit. So this is a week after my 18th birthday. This is like the following weekend. My 18th birthday was on a Saturday, and the following Saturday, my dad dies, right? Um, So an interesting thing that happened in my life is, I don't know if you could see this. I have this scar on my forehead. I don't know if you could tell. I got a scar on my
Yeah.
forehead.
Mhm.
It's a teacher opened the door and opened my forehead at the same time in New York. I was like 7 years old. Um,
Goodness.
that's a whole nother story, right? It was a freak accident. She opened the door, fucking banged my head, blood everywhere. But she wanted to wait. She wanted me and my brother to wait for the rest of the class, right? And my brother was like, "Fuck that." He picked me up and took me down to the nurse's office, right? And then they rushed me to the hospital. I had to get stitches. So my parents sued the teacher. I don't know if they sued the teacher or the school. I don't. Anyway, I got a settlement, right, when I turned 18 years old. I burned all that money. Uh, it, that money vanished like within 3 months. I was had turned 18, got all this money, didn't know what to fucking do with it, didn't know how to manage money, didn't know economics or nothing like that, because that's not important to Jehovah's Witnesses. You just got to go out and preach, right? Um, I burned all that money out, and by September, in August, my mom sits me and my brother down and tells me and my brother, I paid rent for September. I found a place to stay. I'm going to be leaving. You have all of next month to figure out what you're going to do with your lives. And she fucking left.
That is one way to kick the bird out of the nest.
She left. Um, And like I blamed myself, right? Like I blame myself. I blame us, me and my brother, because we were wilding. We were just like, I got all that money. I became the weed man, right, of the neighborhood. I started. I was selling half a pound of weed a day out of my mom's apartment while she was at work. And then as soon as we heard the high heels clicking, right, we would fucking clean up the apartment and everything. Air spray, air freshener, and like nothing happened. so, so, I kind of blame myself for just her rejecting us like that, and that's how I kind of that's how I resolved it in my mind, right? For a, a large portion of my adulthood, right? Until I became a father. And then it hit me like I I could never fucking abandon my son like that, you know? You, they didn't encourage education. They actually discourage education in the Jehovah's Witnesses. They don't encourage you to pursue higher education because they fearmonger that you're going to learn something you're not supposed to learn, right? And it's going to drive you away from Jehovah. My brother was ditching high school, right? He would sleep in until like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, and my mom saw him sleeping in, right? But didn't fucking wake him up and force him to get up and go to school, right? It wasn't a priority, and that's how it ended up for me too. Like I ended up just like fucking school off, like it's not a big deal. Like my mom doesn't even care if I go or not, right? So I was uneducated. I was completely satisfied with the education I was getting from hip hop and stuff, which is like it was fractional, right? It was just like fragments of information that I was getting, right? And I was trying to pull together a whole worldview from those little fragments that I would get from hip hop, right? But the person that should have been molding me and preparing me for adulthood and life, you right, like wasn't really doing that. She was preparing me for serving Jehovah's organization, and that's all that mattered. It's so I got I'm still very very angry at my mom. I'm still we don't have a good relationship right now. I just I can't deal with that. My brother is living in Arizona. He has two boys. Uh, they're early teens now, but she would go over and visit him. Um, and then my brother would catch her trying to teach the kids about Jehovah, knowing that he doesn't want that. And then she would deny it, right? She would deny that she would like just like weird little things like that. Like, come on, like it's unbelievable. Like you don't see what happened to our family? What that did to us? And you're gonna try to teach, my nephews, you're gonna try to teach his kids behind my brother's back like that? Like, what is that? Like, so there's no respect for family. They teach you that, your family is only worth something if they're serving Jehovah. If they're not serving Jehovah, then you don't need them. they're bad associations and move on from them, right? And that's just uh, wrong. It's just so it's so bad. Like so yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to lay out for you. Like as far as like my life, my upbringing, and the certain things that happened uh, as I was growing up, that pretty much molded the way I view things today. And this is the reason why like I'm going so hard for this Lady Babylon, this ancient Greek stuff. I'm so thankful for what Ammon is showing us, what's in the text, because like after I left the Jehovah's Witnesses, I jumped into Rastafari, and it was a Bible-based organization, right? So like I did it to myself. Like I escaped what my mom did, but and then I jumped into something else that was Bible oriented, and I did that to myself. Um, and I had to take myself out of that, right? So, but like now I'm getting this information, this very vital information that I wish that I would have known, when I was a kid, right? I would have been better equipped to argue with the elders in the congregation, and to basically stand up for myself when I was being, you know, attacked by the elders. Because they found out I was smoking weed. We got visits from elders in the community, in the congregation, and you know telling us that that's not good, right? But there's only so much that they can do because we had never gotten baptized, right? So if me and my brother would have gotten baptized, then there would have been more severe actions taken towards me and my brother. But being that we weren't yet, they were still kind of trying to groom us to go in that direction, to get baptized, right? To basically sink us further into the trap. Because once you are baptized into the organization, then they can do stuff like disfellowship you, excommunicate you, and shun you, right? Like from the organization, which is kind of why my mom still tries to. She communicates with me. She still has that avenue of communication with me because we never got baptized. If we were baptized, if we would have gotten baptized, I don't think my mom would have even attempted to communicate with me at all, because that's within the rules of the organization. They If they made that commitment to baptize and then they reject Jehovah, that's even worse than never being baptized in the first place. So, yeah. That's that.
The Jehovah's Witness, I have some of the least knowledge and understanding about exactly how they do their thing. I have a little bit, but I am unaware of how they typically, so they don't baptize children. Is it after a certain age, or how does that work?
They don't baptize babies. No, you have to make that commitment. You have to volunteer. But they start encouraging baptism at a very young age, at like 8, 9, right? They start even earlier than that, depending on the family, right? But they really encourage baptism at young age. By 12, 13 years old, you're not baptized, they're questioning you, right? Like, what's going on, trying to coerce you, right? um so yeah. That's how they do it. It's not like in Catholicism where you're a baby and they baptize you. You have to volunteer it, you know.
Um,
Yeah.
I remember that there are some sects that, SECTS, that they
Yeah.
believe that a child is accountable at the age of 7 years old for their sins. Is
Wow.
this under this realm or no?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
No, it's not
Yeah,
like that with the Jehovah's Witnesses.
I was just kind of trying to understand what age they consider someone able to make that kind of decision. But
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
the unfortunate thing is that even if you did have the knowledge and understanding about the origin of the text and the true meanings and context of the times, those elders would not have given a damn. They already, in the Jehovah's Witness, they already claim that the other translations are wrong and that that's why they have their translation, right?
They have their own. Yes. Yep. And it says Jehovah. They make it say Jehovah in places where it doesn't where it shouldn't even say Jehovah. They just put it there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was many years ago that I kind of looked into the differences of the different books that are used in the
Mm.
denominations, if you can consider these things under the same denomination. But um,
Yeah.
the problem
Yeah,
is
that
in the leadership and the not only the leadership of the local temples and elders, but because they're
mm,
following an even grander hierarchy of the organization that is
mm.
training down in order to, like, ultimately it's to siphon the resources from the people
Yes.
underneath it, because they take
Yeah.
a tithe as well, right? Just like the Mormons,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
like
We were
automatically.
living on Yeah, we were living on welfare. Not automatically, it's voluntary, right? It's but in New York, even here, even in California, we were living better in California, right? But in New York, we were, my gosh, we were on food stamps and we were living in we were in the projects, right? And we were on government assistance. And my mom was still putting money in the contribution box, in the donation box. She was still putting money in there. Like we didn't have money, but she was still putting money in there. And it was the biggest. I couldn't understand it. Even as a kid, I couldn't understand like why they can't. We go to certain places and like, oh, that's cool. I want that. Or we can't get cool clothes because they can't afford it, but she can put money that we don't have in the donation box for the Jehovah's Witnesses, right? I can't have cool toys, right? I can't get the toys that I want, right? But because she has to put money in the donation box.
She was raised from childhood as a Jehovah's Witness.
She was a baby when my grandma converted. She was a baby. Um, so she is the middle child, right? And the two older ones were not having it. The two older ones did not have it at all. She was the middle one, and then her younger siblings were all for it. They were all for it. And still are. You know, her two older siblings, they're like the I think one passed away in the early '90s. Never regretting not being a Jehovah's Witness, right? Um, and the other one is still alive right now, but she's not doing too well. But she's not having that Jehovah's Witness stuff. She They got to see what it did to the family. The family that we came to be with, that we moved to California with, they're Jehovah's Witnesses, right? That's my mom's younger brother and his two sons. he ended up kicking his kids out the house, and they ended up living with me, with us, with my mom, right? Because he was super strict too, and he was an elder in the congregation, so he had a reputation to uphold, right? And he couldn't have that. He couldn't have nobody being disrespectful or not following, you know, Jehovah's laws, right? It's weird how they treat families. It's like there's no love. It's not really love at all. You're worthless if you're not serving Jehovah.
That's the ugly thing, is that it's not even about serving Jehovah, it's about serving that organization, because that is who
Exactly.
Jehovah ends up being. It's not a real
Yeah.
deity, it's the man behind the curtain type thing.
It's actually 9 dudes.
The men behind the curtains.
Yeah, yeah. It's 9 dudes called they're called the governing body, right? It's just like a corporate board. It's a corporate board. The Jehovah's Witnesses, they function like a real estate company. It's like McDonald's, right? It's like McDonald's. They own the land. They buy the land, and then they build these very uh basic looking buildings, right? That can be converted into anything once they decide to leave that place or sell that property, right? That's all they do. So uh, they make the the local congregations, they're funding the upkeep of these buildings, right? They're funding the upkeep of the buildings, and they're paying the rent on the property and stuff. But the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society is what they're called. That's the corporate entity. They
Mm-hmm.
the Watchtower owns the land, and the congregation pays rent on that property, right? But and then the the organization will sell the property, and then the congregation will end up having to travel further out, you know, to the next city over or whatever, just so they can be part of, still attend the meetings and stuff, right? It's like they're constantly doing stuff like that to the members, right? Making them move here and there, and travel at further distances, because they're constantly buying property and selling it, buying property and selling it, and it's just a real estate company. That's all. That's how they function, right? They built a media studio in upstate New York, right? They're not their whole organization is supposed to be preparing for the kingdom of Jehovah's kingdom, right? Because they believe that any day now the Armageddon is coming, and you know there's going to be this great tribulation, and the Jehovah's Witnesses are going to be persecuted, and all this other, they believe this wild stuff that's out of Revelation, that the end time is coming, right? But they're investing in a media studio so that they can produce media. They're investing in land. They're buying property. They're buying lands in Africa, right? So they can build more kingdom halls and stuff like that. They're not functioning as a organization that's preparing for the end, right? They're functioning as an investment company to make profit in the future. And the members don't see it. I don't understand how the members can't see that. It's mind-boggling.
They're indoctrinated is the thing. And especially
Yeah.
if you come up in it as a child, I mean, you're raised just to listen and behave and
Mm-hmm.
regurgitate, because ultimately you want to have that acceptance. You don't want to get kicked out and rejected, because that is your family now. And the people
Mm-hmm.
that convert, ultimately, the church organization replaces your true family connection. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not only
Yeah.
the Jehovah's Witnesses, it's also, the Catholicism that came up because of the colonialism.
Mm.
It replaces the family in order to use the children to be shells of adults to perpetuate the ultimate goal of funding those men at the top, who they
Mm.
are not
Yeah.
pious. They don't have the morality that they're supposedly encouraging within their people. They're not stewards. You know what I mean? It's a lie on that end, and people don't see it because they just want the comfortability of the life that they think is supposed to be and their place in it. It is
Yeah.
sad. It is obviously a lack of education that even makes it possible, and that's why it's so important to drive home. Don't learn anything else, even though that is not even what is in the book either. You're supposed to
Yeah.
seek so that you find. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is
They
unfortunate,
discourage it.
and
Mm.
it is ugly what it does to the families, for sure. And I am
Yeah.
sorry that
There's
you guys had to experience that with your mom, and I'm so sorry about your dad too. I wonder why the truth of the past infidelity on your mom's side wasn't enough to substantiate a divorce then.
I don't get it either. I don't get it either.
Yeah, that's very ugly.
That's how my dad explained it to me. He actually fucking explained it to me this way. That's how he sat me and my brother down, and that's how he explained it to me. That's why he did what he did. It makes no sense because she cheated on him first,
It's just to appease the big dogs.
just to make it grow over smoothly. Optic the optics of it, right? I don't get it. Another part of this is that I'm still living in the city that all this can't this all this transpired in, right? I'm still living here in Santa Ana, California, and the Kingdom Hall, right? That we attended, where basically I said one of my last goodbyes to my dad, right? He had been excommunicated, and he showed up to the Kingdom Hall one Sunday when we were at the meeting, and they tapped me on the shoulder, and they said, your dad is outside, right? And so he's telling us he's leaving California, right? He's moving. He moved to Las Vegas before he went to Miami, but that was like uh I still drive by that Kingdom Hall regularly, and and it it hurts every time I pass by there. I feel it like it that fucking building and that parking lot. Every time I drive by there, it fucking reemerges. All these feelings just come right back, and it fucking hurts. And I don't know what to do about that. It's like I can't really do anything unless I fucking leave the city, you know. But my son is going to college here, you know. My wife is working not far from here, right? So, you know, I I drive, I deliver auto parts, so I'm constantly driving around, and I'm constantly passing by that fucking building. So yeah, it's something that it's like a open wound that just keeps fucking that just keeps that never closes. It never fucking closes.
I understand how being around physical places that retain memories that you have had, especially when they are so weighty and heartbreaking, I understand how that can affect for sure. But I hope that you can look at that building and recognize that it is a symbol of something that you escaped and that you didn't allow your children to be indoctrinated into either. And I hope that it is a
Yeah,
reminder for you of why you do what you do and why you do speak out on the truth of things. Even if, I mean, we're still learning, right? Lady Babylon, Dr. Hillman, showing us these texts and cross referencing things and everything, we're still trying to learn and understand the context of it all, right? But it
yeah,
is a
yeah,
start, you know, and
yeah,
we are generations that are shedding these things that our parents and grandparents couldn't. And so that is something. And it does hurt
yeah.
because we will always walk around with the pain that we have not only inherited from our parents because our parents had their pain as well, but that we got from them. You know, like I'm very familiar with maternal disappointment and upset. You know, I've been no contact with my mom for over a decade now. At this point, it
Oof.
is
Wow.
her choice because a few years ago I had it laid heavy on my heart to reach out to her, and so
Mm,
I ended up doing that after some time of struggling with it mentally.
mm,
But I realized that I just didn't want to be like hurt by her again, type thing. And I still gave my contact information, and then my sister, she told me, "Oh, I'm sure if you apologize to her, she'll forgive you." And I was like, "What the hell is she telling people? Like, what the hell do I need
what
to
the hell?
apologize for, you know?" But, you know, like you
Wow.
said, it something changes when you have children. And especially when I came up at the age where I realized I'm the age that she was when she was still making poor decisions on mothering and not being able to show love or to embody any kind of good example of this, that, or the other type thing. But it is all serving everything that we experience, everything that they experience, that we experience secondhand because we saw them struggling with not knowing how to be an adult either. All of
Mm,
that serves our children because our
mm,
children have not experienced that pain because we stopped it. And even if they had to see us learning and growing through things that we didn't know in our young
mm,
parenting, they still saw the intent and they still felt the love from us. And that is very evident in them wanting to be in proximity in the way that they show affection back to us. You know what I mean? And
mm,
so all of that, I hope, and it should be very validating for you and your wife because out of all the ugliness, purity is still coming up. And that is because of your diligence, you know? And then from that point,
mm.
our children's children are going to be even more better off, you know? And that's the hope that we can have and that we can cling to for sure.
Yeah.
But I do understand your hurt and your pain, and I want to share with you something that I have been feeling for a while now. You know, like the whole when people say good morning, I always think of it as mourning, MOURNING, because
Yeah.
I have felt like I have been a little bit in mourning for years now
Mm,
over
mm,
over things that have happened, people that I have lost, and even people who are alive that I have lost, like it is an ugly kind of mourning to mourn a living person. You know what I mean? It's different, but it is still painful. But it all serves
yeah.
something greater, and that greater will be what we pass on and what we no longer allow to persist. And part of that is the unveiling of the truth that Dr. Hillman is trying to help lead, even though he is very inflammatory. But the
Yeah.
inflammatory, the inflammatoriness of the way that he's presenting, I understand is necessary to trigger these people that are the leaders, right? Because they are perpetuating. Like how he says so many pastors and priests will email him like, thank you. Like those people are the
Mm,
ones that really need to be struck in the heart because they're the ones
mm,
leading masses wrongly. You know what I mean?
mm.
So I do
Yep.
understand the need for not sugarcoating anything at all, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a it's kind of I don't use the word often, but cathartic, right? It's like it just it's sort of like it's like a healing kind of thing. Like it just like hearing somebody say the things that you kind of felt to be true from so long. Like there's something wrong about this, and but I can't pinpoint what exactly it is, right? And then the way he just lays it out and shows you the reality of what's in the text, and then kind of showing how people are communicating and using these words and what they mean, and then how we are being misled, right, by theologians and stuff. Like it just it feels so relieving to have these truths like start to surface, right? And it's liberating. Like the whole hail Satan thing, like I had never said that before. I had never ever said that, right? Like I probably like posted like gifs to troll Christians on Facebook, a praise Satan gif or something, but I actually never uttered the words, right? I never actually said it. And saying it does something. It's like so liberating. It's wild. It's just to say hail Satan, like it just feels so liberating, right? And here I am, like I left that when I was 16 years old, and I'm gonna be 50 next year, right? But I still have all these things in bottled up inside of me, to be able to to shout something like that, to shout "Hail Satan," uh, and feel what I feel is like I I, I don't know. I'm so grateful for just for having found out discovered Ammon, right? And being able to learn what I'm learning, it's just and it's giving me um a new avenue, a new way to express myself in my music, right? It's like a whole new thing for me to address in my lyrics and in my music. Like um I've I- I've always, not always, but like once I made the switch, right, and I started writing rhymes that were in line with, atheistic and kind of like anti-Christian, anti, monotheism and stuff. But like now having actual information and knowledge that I can write down, I can put it into the and it's not just mockery, right? Like that's another thing that I've had to deal with on social media. Like there's people that love Ammon, right? That and they like what he's teaching, but all they can seem to do is make content to mock Christians, right? And to mock Muslims and to mock Jews and stuff. And I'm like, mockery is fine, right? That's cool, but like it only goes so far, right? Like you got to hit these people with facts, right? Mockery is okay, like it can get a little far, right? But um but stick with the facts. Like put some facts out there, right? Um
Well, it takes many angles, I think, to break it all down ultimately.
yeah, yeah. Somebody sent me a post that they made on Instagram. Somebody sent me their post. She's a woman in Spain, right? That's posting a lot of stuff in support of Ammon. But she sent me this post. It was like rainbow colors, and it's this text that says Allah is gay. And I'm like, okay, like so we're making so homosexuality is something to make fun of, like, or and how I don't understand. I asked another, online.
Hmm.
I'm like, I showed him the post, and I'm like, what do you think about this? Um, and he's like, well, ask her, like ask if there's something that she found, right? Is there some kind of evidence, some kind of text that she's citing to that she's getting this from, right? Maybe she found something. It's funny like that. He's very diplomatic. But and sometimes it irks me, but yeah, he helps me a lot with that. And so that's what I did. I went over and I asked her. I was like, "Hey, like, uh, is that did like where did you learn that Allah is gay? Is there some kind of is there something that I could look at, right? Like is, you know? And then she replies back, ha ha ha, right? Um, and she puts it's activism.
It's ignorant.
So I'm like, I don't see that
It
as
just, yeah,
activism.
that's only gonna cause more confusion and division, especially because, like you're
Yeah,
saying, it's like, okay, well, is he gay? Which my first thought was, okay, if there was a reference, then wouldn't he be bi? Like, at least,
yeah,
like,
right,
straight gay is not
right.
to be
Yeah,
technical, as a gay
yeah,
myself
right.
under that umbrella. You know what I mean? Like, I can say, um, it's
Oh,
not either or all the time, especially given retrofitting the ideas even to a time that
yeah,
didn't really have those labels as well. But yeah, no, there is a lot
it's
out there. And I think that ultimately, if the goal is to not only like degrade a person for having been raised in a certain religion or whatever, like if the ultimate goal is to share that understanding, then I think that the way that you present things is important. But like I
yeah,
said, I think that
yeah.
all angles are needed. We there needs to be that straight inflammatory in order to trigger the right people. There needs to be
It's,
all kind of angles in order to ultimately reach a person. And there's been so many angles that Christianity has been forced down people's throats as well. And there are people that are Christians that they do the same trolling, but, all of that is misguided as well, because that's not rooted in love. Christ said that
Yeah.
the way that his disciples would be recognized would be for their love for each other. So that really just
Mm-hmm.
wipes out like 95% of these people, because they're not
Mm-hmm.
demonstrating what they want to take the name of. And so I do understand why it's necessary to be triggering and inflammatory, because they are, right? But
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
people that are lost in the cracks that they I do think that people can be coaxed for sure, and that's where I hope to fit in and slide into some cracks with my stuff, because President Panda is going to demand that these supposed Christians prove themselves. Like there's going to be a hell of a lot
Yeah.
of accountability, and these damn churches are going to be taxed as well. Prove it, prove
Oh
it.
shit.
You know what I
Oh
mean?
shit. Hell yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
it
Tax
does
the
need to
church.
come from all sides to sink into people's
Yeah.
thick heads, because what is sad is that it isn't even only a presentation of facts that need to get through a person, because they're so emotionally invested in who they think that they're supposed to be and what role they think they have in these different organizations too. So just like it
Yeah.
takes has taken us years to gather some understanding, people are going to have years of trying to unlearn what they've been indoctrinated into. And so um,
Yeah.
we have the fortunate place in being able to be, front and center into this Ammon Hillman breaking down these texts that haven't been looked at before. We're kind of on the front end of that, but a
Mm.
lot of people aren't going to get any of that for even a couple more years. It's not going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it is just going to take persistence. And it's hard on the internet,
W-
because you can't just be loving to people, because people are their worst online, because they face
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
consequences. So I definitely
Well,
understand.
this is a good segue into the Soma Library thing that I'm helping with. It's a valuable resource that's being built right now that started. It's amazing. He kicked us off, right? Like he started taking notes of Ammon streams. He stays up late into the night, just notating everything that Ammon is saying on his streams, and he built a catalog of notes, and it's on the Soma Library. But what he's been doing for the last couple of months is organizing uh, writers, people that actually write articles, researchers. So we've found several people to actually contribute into writing articles. Um, and they submit them to they get reviewed, and it gets put up on the website. It's like a wiki resource where you can find, just like what is the ion, the breakdown of the word that's used as rib. It
Mhm.
doesn't really mean rib, it means the side. Grime Minister, he wrote that article about pagans, right?
Yeah, I saw that his video, because he put that out
Hmm.
not too long ago. And then whenever I saw you share that and I read it, I was like, oh shit, I just saw his video of it. And yeah, it's really awesome. The coming
Yeah,
together
yeah.
for the purpose of true education and understanding. I think it's beautiful. And I love that you're sharing from that Soma Library. Because, like, even I shared it on my Facebook too, because I have
Mm.
family and friends that they're still in the thick of that Christianity, and it will take certain kind of coaxing them to start realizing, because so many times I heard a pastor laugh it off that, oh, I don't know the Greek. It's like, well, then how can you say you love the Christ if you don't care about what the hell he actually was talking about or it was said?
Yeah.
But they don't, because it's drilled into them that the Bible is all the word of God, they don't even comprehend like which parts of the New Testament almost didn't even make the cut, like Revelation. I hate when people are so gung-ho about Revelation. A lot of people didn't even want Revelation in there because it was so off its fucking rocker, okay? And then
Yeah.
here people are loving to focus on that to drive home certain bullshits that they want to profit off of monetarily or not, you know.
Mm.
It's ridiculous.
That's the ultimate tool for fear mongering in Revelation, right there. Like, you better watch out because these things, the way they interpret, the way they interpret all these little things, and because they don't know the Greek, they get it all wrong, right? And now they have you in a trap, and you're scared. You're fearing for your afterlife, right?
Yeah. Revelation works so well for fear mongering that even the Jews like that shit because it works toward them. It's in their fucking favor as well. It's all stupid.
That's so
It's very
that's so
sad. It's
funny.
ridiculous. It would, yeah, it would be funnier if it weren't so damn true, you know, but and then these damn Christians that they love it. They simp over these fucking Jews that they're not even in the right spirit of their own religion because they're wanting to display a malicious animosity. Yeah, it's left and
Mhm.
right. So I definitely understand the need for being a triggering troll, definitely.
Yeah, the gadfly. That's the gadfly. The sting of the gadfly is what causes mania, right? What makes people go crazy. um,
Yeah, if you're not already crazy because of the ridiculous of it all.
yeah, but it's like that's kind of what you need. It's funny too because in Zen like it was I that was a moment of enlightenment for me. Like just I don't understand. It's hard to explain, but I got punched in the face and I felt clarity. It's the
But you
heart. It's
you can't
I
explain
can't
it?
I can't fucking explain it. It's just I felt so much relief
Can
at that moment.
can I take a
Yeah.
stab at guessing it?
What? What? Go ahead.
Because you got hit for trying to understand, right? So I imagine that hit made you realize that it wasn't about understanding. It was about licking that fucking man's boot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
mean, I would
Yeah.
imagine that would definitely make you realize that the chase is the wrong thing because it's rooted in not true understanding, but true subservience.
Yes. Also, it's being in the now, right? It's that when is now, right? Is now, or was it the when I started uttering the N sound, or was it the W when I said the W? When is now, right? Now is this, but when I got punched in the face, I knew exactly what now was because it was right there. You understand? It was so in the moment, nothing else mattered. Nothing else mattered at that point in time. I don't, it's, it's so, uh, but it happens to people, right? It happens to people when they're, practicing Zen, and that happens often when they get whacked on the head or on the shoulder, that moment of it just it brings you to this right now. You're here, right? you're not thinking about the past or what's going to come in the future. You're here right now. that's that's um that's what it was. That's what it felt like. It's just being present in that moment at that time, and not being pulled to the past or to the future, but you're here. um there's so much there. It's hard. It's really hard to explain. I'm trying my best to explain it, but but I think you know I think boxers kind of feel that as well. I think that's why they continue to do it. I think that's one thing, that's one of the intriguing parts for boxers, is that getting hit in the face is like feeling alive, right? It's like that. uh it's so weird. It's really weird, but it'll make sense if it ever happens to you. You'll see it. Right, like
Oh,
you'll know
yeah, no, I am not a stranger to being hit in the face or hitting in the face
it.
either.
Oh gosh, oh gosh.
Have you ever heard of Eckhart Tolle or Toll or whatever?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
His whole
He's
thing is the power of now, and he says that
mhm,
now is really the only thing. And it is true on a
yeah,
level
yeah.
for sure.
He's a trip because he's like somebody that got to the Buddhist enlightenment without Buddhism, right? Like he
Yeah,
got to that
you
point
know
with
his
that.
story?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My brother kind of introduced me to him a few years ago, and I started to check him out and stuff. Um, but yeah, he's a trip. He's a real trip. I appreciate a lot of it. Some of it is a little, um, I don't know. I need it's a little boring, right? He can be a little boring. That's why I gravitate towards like Alan Watts, because he's a little more colorful and energetic and stuff. But yeah, I
Mhm.
totally appreciate Eckhart Tolle for real. Um, that's yeah, that's the best way I could describe it. Like he reached Buddhist enlightenment without Buddhism, right?
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
that's
he will talk about how depressed he was, and so I used to say that he like lost his mind and then reached enlightenment
mm,
because he became
yeah,
so
yeah.
overwhelmed with everything, and then
Mm,
pierced through it, and yeah, I was I came across his stuff in a time that it ended up really serving me with just that whole. He had said something one time that wherever you are, whatever situation that you're in, to act as if you had chosen it. And when I heard him say that, I in my mind it clicked like where I am is a result of the choices I made, even if it's not just my own, because we bounce off of each other, right? Sometimes we have
mm, mm,
consequences that were in fact not because of us, but rather something else rippling, you know what I mean? But regardless,
mm, mm.
where we are is a result of our choices.
Of every decision that you've ever made.
It is a
Huh.
good way to live and understand, because it takes some of that weight off of you in terms of like being able to get very down about things, you know,
Mm, mm.
as if,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the world is out to get you or something like that. And I mean, some people do get fixated in those kind of feelings as well. So, but it's funny. What's funny
Yeah.
about him is that when I first was coming across his stuff, I was listening to a lot of his stuff, like on YouTube and stuff. And
Mm,
years later, I ended up bringing it up, or somehow he came up, and the person that I was talking to had only read his books. And so it's funny to think about how different internalizing his message is reading the book as opposed to listening to him, because he is very slow in the way that he draws
Mm,
out what he's trying to say.
yeah. You really just got to be there waiting for that next word.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
um,
And you're like, and then?
that's kind of like a Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh is like the same too. He's very soft spoken, or was, rest in peace. He's very soft spoken, but he has a lot of cool things to say as well, But like what when I need my ASMR fix, I put on some Thich Nhat Hanh. Yeah, he's good for that for sure. He's a Vietnamese Zen Buddhist monk he got popular in the United States because he teamed up with Martin Luther King. So that's how he got famous. He came out here to help with like the civil rights movement and stuff. So he became kind of like a political figure, but he's very much like a Zen Buddhist. He has his own community out in San Diego. They have a temple out there, and so I've never been to. I have a friend that's went, but I've never been to it. But yeah, I'll send you some stuff. He has a very strong Vietnamese accent. Um, and a very soft voice. He's really nice to listen to because the accent is super intriguing. But and then the tone of his voice is like very calming. It's really cool. But I should probably round this out. I gotta get my day going here. My son is in his room right now. We'll probably have some brunch and do something. But
That's sweet.
but yeah, but I'm glad I finally got to get that out of me. The my story, my backstory. You know
Hmm.
the backstory to my villainhood.
No, not
um,
a villain. You know, it's funny about that word villain. It comes from the word villager. And when they
oh wow.
started making plays and stuff, the villager, they always made a bad person. And so that became villain. And that's how the
Are
word
you
got
serious?
distinguished. Yeah.
Wow.
The more we
That's
know,
funny.
that's why it's important
That's
to not stop learning.
Yeah. I don't think it's possible to stop learning. I think no, I don't. I think everybody learns something every day, whether they like it or not.
Well,
Um,
I don't know. That's very generous.
yeah,
I think the word, I
in
think
some
that
form.
learning would mean like being able to comprehend and then utilize that
Yeah,
kind of thing. I think some
yeah,
people come across a lot of things but don't actually absorb any of it. So I don't
yeah.
know.
You're right. You're
But yeah,
right.
that's very generous,
That's
very
true.
positive outlook.
But it was good talking to you again. And shoot, I'm sure, if there's anything else that you want to discuss, just let me know and we can get back on this and do another one. I'm all for it.
I did make the thumbnails or whatever. I did make enough for
Yes.
part 4. Okay, so I am anticipating
Oh
that, but I do
gosh.
want to.
Wow.
I put. I want to put these together and let you see them, and then we can have a final
Yeah.
one. And then the one after that will be when you interview with President Panda.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah,
On the
and
campaign
it's
trail.
yep, gonna get there. All
uh,
right. Well, you enjoy your
so
day with your boy, and thank
yes,
you for your time and your story.
you too.
I'm very thankful for you sharing this background was so important, you know, to be able to understand how people are put together and what, you know,
Yeah.
drives that spirit and that flame within, you know. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me let me rant. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Okay. You take care of yourself, and I'll see you online, okay?